I need to unjam all the debris from the splitter ram, and I'll show you what I mean. I talked about this in a previous video. The splitter ram comes down this channel, and when it gets up to the wedge here, any debris that is trapped in here gets impacted in this space to the point where the splitter ram will no longer make it all the way to the wedge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a long-handled wood chisel so that I can stand up on the operator platform and lean over and chisel down and knock all that stuff out of there. I've tried prying it out with a pry bar, I've tried a screwdriver, I've tried a small metal chisel. The only thing that worked was a chisel. Because when I say it's impacted, I mean it is really jammed in there. So I figure a sharp wood chisel, since it's all wood, it's just compressed bark and wood chips and sawdust. So a nice sharp wood chisel, I ought to be able to slice that out of there until I get it all the way to the wedge. So that's my plan, is to make a nice chisel. So in my pile of things that I know I'm going to use someday, so I save them, I have old chisels. Now, some of these things are beat up and some of them are okay. So I'm going to try to find one that's can kind of be a sacrifice. I'm not quite sure what I'm looking for here. This one is a little wide. I don't know. I guess I might have to go measure. This might be a good candidate. This one is old and beat up. It's all pitted and rusty. The end of it's all peened over. So I'm going to walk back up to the processor and see if this will fit. Well, it seems that I have lucked out. This is just the perfect size to fit in this channel. I have a nasty wasp nest underneath here. So before I do anything else, I need to get rid of that. Oh my. There's more than one. Okay. Three of them. 3 wasp nests. Now, as long as they don't come back and try to sting me. Yeah, yes. Okay. All right, 25 inches is what I need. Right there. Yeah, they're not happy. I just destroyed their house. Nope, they are not happy. And now they're following me around, dive bombing me. So this is just a piece of A36 structural steel, 5/8 round. It's nothing fancy, but it's heavy enough that I can hammer on it and not worry about it bending. But we need to prep it because all this mill scale has to come off of here for welding. I'm trying to round it just a little bit, because this is going to be the end I hammer on. Since this end is all beat up and peened over, I'm going to take the bandsaw and I'm going to slice this end off rather than try to grind that off. So we'll just cut it right off and see how that looks. pusher stick for this. And this should cut. I need a little more space underneath my guide. Just a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Okay, good enough. There. Put the handle right in there and weld it up. That's how much of that was peened over. So clean this up a bit. Just wanted to get all the rust and crud off of it, so it's ready for welding. So the idea is I'm going to fit this into here. So I think if I taper the end of this rod just enough, it'll fit down in there. This is actually, it looks like it's a handmade chisel. And the reason I say that is because right here, you can see that little seam right there. And that is from folding this over. So this started out flat, and then it's formed around a mandrel, and then it's welded. So whoever did this did a really fine job, because you can't see, I can just barely see a line here, just barely. And that's the line of the weld. And that's a forge weld, that's not an arc weld. So that's interesting. That explains why it looks so old. I was going to taper this on the lathe, but I said, you know what? Since this is hand forged, I'm going to forge this. So I'm going to forge this down to a taper so that it fits all the way into the bottom of the chisel socket, that is. I'm just going to heat this up with the torch. It's almost 80 degrees in the shop here now. If I light the forge, it will be unbearable. And I still have more stuff I need to do in here. So I'm just going to do this with the torch, because it's only heating this very end. Trying to get a nice even heat on this. And since I'm only doing the very end, putting this in the forge is kind of a waste. It's a lot more efficient just to do this. Okay. Come back over here. I only need to go down to about 1/4 inch on the end. Now that I've forged it square, I'm going to round it up a little bit. So I'm just hammering on the corners. And then I roll it over to knock all the corners off. Now that's small enough to go to touch the bottom, but up here it has to be a little thinner. Doesn't take long for the cold anvil to suck the heat right out of that. So if you can see, I've gone from round to square and then back to round again, more or less. So grab the chisel and we'll see what kind of a fit we have. Yeah, all right. Almost perfect. Matter of fact, that's probably good enough. I might grind the very end off of that. Or better yet, a better idea. I'll just make the end a little fatter again. Yeah, that's good. That's good right there. So when I weld that together, that should work out just fine. Okay. Alright, so I'm just going to let this cool off. Contrary to popular belief, a blacksmith does not always quench every piece of metal he heats up. That's from the movies. If I quench this, I run the risk of making a crack. Even though this is relatively low carbon steel, I've seen this stuff crack if you do that. So I just let it cool on its own and that'll be fine. We're going to try to TIG weld this handle into the chisel. So we've got a decent weld all the way around. It'll do for now. See how it goes. It's not exactly straight, but I think I'm going to leave it a little crooked because I might need to be at an angle one way or the other. I don't know yet. But we're going to leave it just like that. If I need to bend it, I will. Okay, I'm going to sharpen this and then we're going to go try it out. Before I did anything else, I took the flap disc and I took all the mill scale off this bar because I'm going to paint this so it doesn't rust. I hate rusty tools. I'm just going to put this on the belt sander. It doesn't need to be razor blade sharp. It just needs to be sharp enough to knock that wood out of there. So belt sander's good for this. That's good enough. It's not perfect by any means, in any way, shape, or form. All right, now I'm standing up on the operator platform. Get the gauge out of the way, and let's see how this works. Oh, beautiful. Try to get it right in the center here. Uh-oh. Boy, that stuff is really packed in there. This is working wonderfully. Absolutely wonderful. Now, I don't remember if there's something in here, something down just below the wedge. I don't recall. Okay, still sharp. I haven't hit anything metal. Well, that's terrific. That's working really, really well. That just knocked all that debris out of there. Let's see if I can get a little more out of there. That might be metal. That sounds like metal. Yeah, I don't know. Nope, just very impacted debris. Okay, well that's good enough. That took most of it out of there. That's impressive. How much stuff was actually jammed in there. So that's how it's supposed to look. So you can look right down the wedge and almost look straight down. I could probably have taken even more out of there. So there it is, the splitter debris removal chisel. A 25-inch bar and about a 5 or 6 inch chisel, and that really worked well. Now it's time to get on to some of my other projects. So thank you for watching. Have a great day.